daily mains questions. As the part of DMP daily mains question day 3, I gave you 3 questions yesterday. 2 questions from the polity and governance and 2 questions from the newspaper. Which means I gave you 4 questions yesterday. Okay, let's start with the first questions. First question, it is related to polity and governance, but mostly it is a polity. The first question, 250 words question, 50 marks. The Constitution of India is prepared after ransacking around 60 constitutions of the world. Thus, it is adopted constitution rather than India's own constitution, which means Indians doesn't prepare because India is adopted. That's what the statement. Critically analyze. The statement is critically analyze. This is what? Critically analyze in view of its success in guiding India for the last 75 years. Okay, India has been guided by Indian Constitution for the last 75 years. It is a highly successful constitution. Why it is a successful? Because that for the last 75 years, while India was being directly guided by the Indian Constitution, innumerable countries' constitution have been failed. For example, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Argentina, various constitutions have been failed. Even Russia, no constitution. Even Japan is an adopted, completely imposed constitution by United States of America immediately after the Second World War. But however, in the case of India is not a simple country. India is a concept. India is a unique. India is an epitome of unique in diversity. India is a highly subcontinental in size. But however, India is being guided by the successful by the constitution for the last 75 years. It is made the success of the constitution for the last 75 years. So in view of it, you should discuss this statement. Critically analyze. How to analyze? The Indian constitution has been prepared after ransacking around 60 constitutions, which means India adopted certain things from the 16 constitution, fundamental rights from the United States of America, parliamentary system from the UK, this Ireland, Canada, Argentina, Germany, even Russia, fundamental duties, etc. So directive principles of state policy from the Ireland, etc. Australian constitution, emergency provisions, certain things. But India adopted various things from the around 60 constitutions. So that's why India's constitution is not this old, it is an adopted constitution. In other words, this constitutionalist criticizes that the Indian constitution has been as a patchwork work of the various pieces of the various things adopted from the various constitutions. Okay, now critically analyze. So now I would like to answer. So introduction should start like this. So if Indian constitution had been adopted, India could have been joined with other failed constitution. India would have been joined in the list of the failed constitution like Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, etc. But Indian constitution is a highly successful constitution. If Indian constitution has been adopted, India would have been joined the list of the failed constitution states. But it is not the case. Indian constitution, which has been adopted in 1950, January 26th January. Since then, see, look at the India's situations. So in 1950, the population is around 40 crore. Now 1.4 billion population, 5.5 times. But however, constitution doesn't change. Indian politically has been transformed. Okay, it has been transformed a lot. But still, this is the constitution which can guide India. So economically, it has been transformed. So after 1991 LPG program, but still this constitution is sufficient enough to deal with India's governance process. Look at Indian society also has been transformed a lot, but still this constitution is in a position to guide the nation. So this is what happened for the last 75 years. That is around 3 generations has been passed off. But however, this constitution is in a position to guide India. If it is adopted, is it possible? So another important thing is India is a one of the oldest and living civilizations. It's a living, uninterrupted and living civilization. Okay, it's a huge continental in size. It's an anthropological museum. For example, every race is there. A huge continental, almost all climates are there. Geographically, a huge continent. Around 1/5 of the humankind of the earth. Linguistically, religiously, in terms of communal, okay, in terms of religion, in terms of linguistics, everything, a huge diversity. How can a single constitution is suitable? If it had been adopted, can it be fitted to India's conditions? Highly impossible. So how to justify? So in this manner, India's constitution is not adopted. But what about this adopted things from the 60 constitution? Because India keenly observed the constitutional expertise experiences of the various countries which were present at the time of India's independence. So why don't we are India is a subcontinental. Indian population has been came under resided India, wave after wave, every race came under resided in India, settled down in India. So we can adopt anything from the globe. So Indian constitutional makers headed by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, what he did, he simply observed the various experiences of the various constitutions. He adopted, but he changed in a way to suit the India's conditions. India didn't purely adopted from other constitutions. We adopted, but we have changed the features and we adopted their experiences and changed in accordance with the India's socio-economic and cultural situations. That's why we didn't purely adopt it. We changed according to our conditions. We took as a clue. That's all simply. So this is what for example, in computer, we copied one page and completely we filled and changed the entire content. We took the format only. So Indian constitutional frameworks has been taken up this only format, pattern and various experiences of the various constitution. But we changed it in a way to suit India's socio-economic and political conditions. That's why Indian constitution is not adopted. Indian constitution has been prepared by Indians, okay, in accordance with our socio-economic and cultural conditions. That's why it is not adopted conditions. It is India's indigenous product, Indians product. Okay, Indians, the genius products has prepared this constitution. That is why it has been surviving and it has become a part of India's living civilization. That's why Indian constitution is known as living document. You know that word, Indian constitution is known as living document, which means it has been emanated from the India's living civilization and it has become a part and parcel of India's civilization, and finally it is successfully guiding such an India's living civilization. That's why it is a living document. It is a living document. So it is not adopted. It is not adopted. We just took the clues from other areas and then we changed in accordance with India's socio-economic conditions. That is why it has been successfully running and guiding this governance process of this great nation. That's why in this way we have to critically analyze. We have to justify it, that's what. Next, second question. That is the second question. Look at this second question. Yeah. Discuss the importance of the Keshavanandi Bharati case in the Indian constitutional process. Indian constitutional process. Very beautiful question, this one. India's constitutional process. Okay, Indian constitutional evolutionary process, in other words. Okay, here I told you earlier, every question is contained. Essentially, it contains 5 components. Number 1, task words are question tags. Here, question tags are discuss and important. These are the question tags. Next one, keywords. Keshavanandi Bharati case and the Indian constitutional process. Okay, the third word is content words. Same content words. Next, limiting words. It is related to India's constitution, came into effect until that. Okay. Next, fifth word is subparts. No subparts of this question. Okay, this part. Now discuss. Discuss means analyze discuss these things in 360 degrees approach of this issue. Socio-economic, political condition, and psychological, scientific, and every manner, all dimensions of this topic. 360 degrees view. Next, importance. What is the importance? Significance, etc., etc. So now the question. Kashmanandi Bharati case, importance in the Indian constitutional process. What do you mean by constitutional process? Constitution is not a static. It is a dynamic part. Unless it is a dynamic, it cannot survive. If it is a static, if it is a rigid, it will die. So everything should be dynamic or flexible. So Indian constitution is flexible and it is also evolving like a living organism. Okay? Otherwise, it cannot suit the changing conditions of any nation. That's why it will dooms to be failed. But Indian constitution is highly dynamic. It has been changing. I told you na. So from the 1950s onwards, okay, 1952. So 2023, around 73 years it has been continuing. Unless it is a dynamic, okay, it cannot survive. It cannot suit the conditions. Okay, that is why it has been evolving. So in this evolutionary process, what is the role of Kashmanandi Bharati case? Okay, in 1973, the Supreme Court of India has delivered this Kashmanandi Bharati case and gave a logical conclusion to the a paradigm, or a conclusion to the struggle between the fundamental rights and directive principles of state policy. Or else, it is logically gave a conclusion to the struggle between the parliamentary dominance or this judicial dominance. This Kashmanandi Bharati case has successfully resolved the struggle between the fundamental rights and directive principles of state policy, or else in between the Parliament of India and this judicial supremacy. So it has given a balanced approach between the main important pillars of the nation, that is the fundamental right versus this directive principles of state policy. Or else this Supreme Court of India, this one. So this Kashmanandi Bharati case has successfully resolved the struggle between this one. So number one, and this Kashmanandi Bharati case has invented one thing. That's what basic structure of the Indian Constitution, which means the Parliament of India can modify can amend any part of the Constitution, include fundamental right. But however, it should not disturb the basic structure of the Indian Constitution. Basic structure, there is no clear-cut definition. But however, it is the fundamental structure of the Constitution. That is what fundamental right, directive principles of state policy, franchise, and etc. etc. These are all parliamentary system, president. These are all come under the basic structure. Okay, it is various constitutional experts are criticizing this because of this Kashmanandi Bharati case restriction to impose, to disturb the Constitution of India, which means that it is restricted the constitutional evolutionary process. No, it doesn't. It doesn't mean that it is prelude to this evolutionary process of the Constitution, which means it is simply it resolved the struggle between fundamental rights and directive principles of state policy. But however, it can change any part of the Constitution, which means the Parliament of India got enormous powers. But however, it should not disturb this one, which means modified approach should be removed because of the Kashmanandi Bharati case. In this way, this Kashmanandi Bharati case doesn't restrict Parliament of India to change, to bring the laws in accordance with the changing the conditions. So, Parliament of India successfully guiding the nation because of this one. Now, because of this Kashmanandi Bharati case has removed the authoritarian kind of approach in Indian Constitution and in other ways. Okay, this is what the beautiful things of the Constitution, Kashmanandi Bharati case. And also, this Kashmanandi Bharati case restored the Supreme Court judicial supremacy as well as Parliament of India's supremacy. Okay, now because of the Kashmanandi Bharati case, the government of India can focus on the directive principles of state policy because that is the need of the hour. Because we are suffering from the lack of inclusiveness, socio-economic, political inclusiveness. In order to get the implementation, to develop the inclusiveness in our nation, our sustainable development, and reduce various disparities, directive principles of state policy like fundamental, this health, education, nutrition, work equal pay for the equal works, okay, labor laws, okay, distribution of wealth, etc., etc. So now the government of India is able to focus on the direct principles of state policy. Even if it is required, it is changing the fundamental rights also. So this is the need of the, this is the because of the Kashmir Bharti case. In this way, we should raise the at least 4 to 5 points only related to importance of Kashmir Bharti case. And the next question is from this dynamic question. Next question. Next question is a dynamic question. This is from the Hamas related area. Hamas and other area. Okay, I will continue, but this screen will come up, don't worry. This is the question is, critically review India's foreign policy approach towards ongoing Hamas and Israel war. So as far as this Israel and Hamas war is concerned, what is the stand of India? India, unlike in the Russia-Ukraine war, India seems to be taken a stand which is appears to be tilting towards Israel. Because Israel has faced this October 7th very dangerous attack. The dangerous attack is the appalling attack by the Hamas, and which results in the killing of around 1,400 Israelis, victims, civilians. So in response to that one, Israel, a nation which is attacking Gaza Strip, around 2.2 million population, which are innocent, stateless people and armyless people. Against this one, a sophisticated military power Israel is attacking. In other words, it is a collective punishment. Hamas is the culprit. But however, who are punishing, who are crushing under the boots of this military, this Israeli military, this Palestinian, innocent Palestinians. So in this manner, so in this context, so what is the stand of India? See, India's approach seems to be tilting towards this Israel. India is also abstained from the UNO voting regarding this ceasefire, seeking after this ceasefire in the Hamas area, Hamas war, during the Hamas and Israel war. But India abstained. India faced criticism even from the outsiders, even the opposition parties also criticized the government approach, government stand on this war area. So in this context, discuss the India's foreign policy stand on the ongoing Russia, this Hamas and Israel war. So India's foreign policy is not a simple, it is highly evolved foreign policy, one of the mature foreign policy on the earth surface now, because India's foreign policy has been emanated from the various factors, various causes. What are the causes? And the geographical factors, our colonial history, and the apartheid, anti-colonialism, India's socio-cultural aspect. This is also this influenced the Indian foreign policy. The Indian personal freedom struggle like Nehru, Gandhi and Gandhian approach. These are all factors has contributed to the India's foreign policy. So traditionally up to 1991, Indian foreign policy is more idealistic in the sense. But after 1991, in the changed geopolitical situation, Indian foreign policy has taken a paradigm shift, a seismic shift in the manner of the pragmatic approach during the PV Narasimha, pragmatic approach, which means that most focus on the self-interest, national interest rather than the ideology. But however, up to 1991, even the post-1991 period, certain things have not been changed. What are these one? Traditionally, we are supporting the Israel-Palestinian people because India is the 202nd largest Muslim population, that too Sunni Muslims. So in this aspect, India is traditionally supported these Arabs, Palestinian. And even in the context of the pragmatic approach also, we have more self-interest in the Middle East. Around the Middle East is nothing but 57 countries, Islamic Organization of Islamic Countries. Organization of Islamic Countries. 57 countries organization, from where we are getting around 80% of our oil resources, energy security is there, and the second highest remittances we are receiving, because millions of Indian populations are there in the Middle East area. So in this aspect, so we have more self-interest in the Organization of Islamic Countries, 57 countries. Okay, oil security and remittances is nothing but this most of our NRIs are there in the Middle Eastern areas, mostly semi-skilled or unskilled populations. So these is very, very important. So we have more self-interest in this area. 57 countries, around fourth of the number of the countries on the globe. So we need number support in the UNO, other areas, resolutions, etc. And also India is the second largest Muslim population country. So we have and our population is sharing Islamic brotherhood with these nations. That's why we have cordial affinity in between the Islamic countries and Indian Muslims. So in this way, Indian foreign policy has evolved and supported. Traditionally, we are supporting Palestinian cause, but now that's what this government is doing. It is clearly supporting the Israel. But however, we can justify, India can be justified this factor on what basis? This Hamas appalling attack in this one. It is tantamount to our Mumbai attack, 2011 New York WTC attack. So that's why we have the right, we have the privilege, and we can justify by supporting this Israel. But on the other hand, after this attack, so Israel is giving collective punishment to the innocent people. This is against certain kind of Geneva Convention, UNO resolution, human charter of the UNO charter of the based on the human rights, etc., and moral ground, ethical ground. That's why India should plead for the ceasefire. Okay, of course, Israel has every right to kill and destroy the Hamas. But what about this innocent collective punishment? That's why India should have asked this Israeli people, Israeli government, please, you have the right to kill the Hamas, destroy the Hamas, but don't touch this one. Don't kill the Hamas. Don't attack these innocent civilians. So India should have asked, so that India could have managed its traditional foreign policy. But however, there is a certain kind of aberration, at least on these affairs. So this is not augur well for the India's interest. But however, India can justify, India can manage, because these certain OIC countries, like the most important countries like Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, they are improving relations with Israel. No doubt at all. But that Islamic countries, they can support, they can justify. But what about India? Based on that, we can justify that this supporting Israel is not a wrong. Even Islamic countries also supporting, no problem. But Israel, we need more interest with Israel. But at the same time, we should have maintained this balanced, well-balanced foreign policy in accordance with our traditional, even post-1991 pragmatic approach foreign policy also. In that way, we have to analyze critically, evolve this one. So this is what the first, this is third question. The fourth question. Next question, fourth question. What is the state of food wastage in India? What is the state of food wastage in India? Discuss the causes, consequences, and suggestions to reduce it. Okay, what is the state of food wastage in India? Discuss question tag, causes, consequences, and suggestions to reduce it. Discuss the causes and the consequences. So it's a beautiful question, and 150 words only. We should condense it. This is from the Economic Times, yesterday's Economic Times editorial. The editorial title is Waste Not, Want Not, Fix Form to Fork. It's a beautiful essay in this Economic Times, ET. Okay. As far as this question is concerned, what is the state of food wastage in India? You know, this around 10% of India's food is being wasted at various points during its food, from the farm to up to consumers level. Okay, eating up to mouth, from farm to mouth. Okay, there has been around 10 to 15% of food is being wasted in India. Forget about the world. Okay, around 14% at the global level. So discuss the causes in all manners, in all directions. Causes, consequence, and suggestion. What are the causes? Causes means at farm level. During this harvesting time, so some of the food is being wasted during the harvesting time. During the transportation further, okay, during transportation and during storage, because no cold storage facilities are there in India. There's a lot of this perishable food is being wasted, vegetables, milk, and this cooked food etc. is being wasted more because of lack of the cold storage facilities compared to on par with the developed nations. That is another cause. Other important is, even during this one, people's negligence, even during the eating time also, food is mostly wasted in the restaurant etc. etc. That is the most during the cooking times, during the preservation, because food has been preserved around years sometimes. It is cold storage. For example, in Indian FCA godowns, mostly rats etc. etc. They are eating a lot. You know, wastage, filtrages during the transportation. These are the causes. And consequences, what are the consequences? Food is not supplied to needy people because it is being wasted. For example, onions, vegetables, etc. Most of the people, it is not reachable to these needy people. It is being wasted in the farmland, farms, and during the transportation preservation only. So needy people are unable to getting the food because of the food wastage. Another important thing is lot of money wastage. Environmental consequences, because around 95% of human being, 95% of water is being used for the farmlands. So water, heavy use, lack of conservation, we are using, but finally we are wasting. So environmental, we are producing this agriculture, various crops at the cost of environment, precious resources. So this environmental destruction because of the food production. And finally we are wasting. These are the consequences. Another one is starvation, hunger, etc. etc. Malnutrition, because mostly food, perishable goods, leafy vegetables, fruits, etc. They are not reached to these needy children and needy poor people. That is also consequence. Lot of money loss. You know, these are the consequences. Suggestions, cold storage facilities, and awareness among the consumers, even the farmers. And enable the farmers by enable them, because farmers are not consciously wasting, because of they are under compulsion, they are wasting. Lack of food chain, lack of the cold storage facilities, lack of transport facilities, lack of gunny banks, lack of good facilities. So they should be enabled, farmers should be enabled by providing these amenities to preserve the food, cold, etc. etc. That is the one best condition. Another one is awareness among the people. If food is extra in your home, it can be distributed by some trusts etc. etc. So the government should encourage certain trusts which are collecting and distributing this wastage extra food to the other people, even in restaurants also. And another thing is, the food wasted in restaurants etc. they should be punished, certain penalties etc. etc. like this. So in this way we can reduce this food wastage in India. So this is what discuss in all manners, socio-economic, political, cultural, even psychologically also we should give it. That's why this is what it discuss. So in this way we have to discuss this one. So please write down these questions. Okay, please write down. If you have any Telugu medium people, you can shift it to another channel is there, Telugu medium channel, or else this will be posted in the YouTube channel UPSC Pulse, where I will post these discussion classes here as well as this one. Even this app is also there. You can download the Parivartan India IAS app. So where you can get it also. So another important thing is, tomorrow we will have another 4 questions. Thank you very much.